And by the way, those of you that came with Learn with Leon, what were you learning today? Maybe we could do a quick impromptu coding garden lesson on whatever you learned. JavaScript. Nice. What about JavaScript? What'd you do with JavaScript? JavaScript DOM. Actually, okay, so yeah, so the next thing we're gonna open is the deck. I want to do a 10-minute coding challenge where we call the Pokemon card API and we add a card to the DOM with DOM manipulation. Would anybody be interested in that? It could be fun. Have you all learned about APIs? We don't know APIs. Well, I'll give you a quick primer on that. Quick primer. No, let's do it. Let's do it though. So we'll get back to the cards very momentarily, and I'll leave this here for anybody so they know what's next. They know what's next. But there is, so I know for sure there's a Poke API, Pokemon API, and this is basically like a full Pokédex. And you can think of an API as, so let's define API. API is Application Programming Interface. Specifically, the Poke API is a web API. So it's an application programming interface that's accessible over the web. And basically, it's just a lot of data. So you can get data about Pokemon. You can get data about different evolutions, different moves that Pokemon have. And so this is data available over the web. You can write code that requests this data and then use it in your app. And so people have built like full Pokédexes using this Pokemon API. And they're also, I was just looking into this like 2 days ago, there's a Poke Card API. It's like a non-official API. PokemonTCG.io. I think this is it. Yeah. So this is an API where you can request data. So if I make a request to cards where the name is equal to Charizard, we see a web page where we get back where we see a bunch of images, but what actually happens behind the scenes is it makes a request to this endpoint. So let's do that really quick. Let's write a really, really simple little web app that calls this and then adds the cards to the page. So let's do it. Yeah. And hey, The Real Python, thank you for that resub. Wow. Okay, we're gonna make a directory called Pokemon Card API. We'll open this up in VS Code, and we're gonna create an index.html file. So this is what the user is gonna see. It's our main document. We'll call it Charizard Cards. Just add a little H1 to begin with. Charizard. And let's start it up. So technically, you could just get the path of this file and then open it up in your browser. I'm going to use a, what do you call it? A little static server locally. I don't know if you all have done things like that, but basically I have this little static server called Light Server, and it opens up this website on a port on my machine. So this little server is running and serving up those files. So there we go. We have a page that says Charizard. Let's change the font real quick. Hey, and what's up, Doc? How's it going? Let's do a simple little style. Let's just say the body has a font family of sans serif. So that's just going to give us this. And the other cool thing about Light Server is it automatically refreshes when you change your files. So instantly refresh. Okay, so we want to call this endpoint. I'm hoping that their API doesn't actually require any authentication. Let's see. Let's just try to make the request. So we can go to api.pokemon. I have to construct this, so it's got to be api.pokemonctg.io/cards name equals Charizard. I'm not getting back any data. Oh, /v1/cards. There we go. So if I use code to make a request here, we're just going to get back a bunch of data about all the cards. So now instead of like opening this in my browser, I'm going to write JavaScript that makes this request. Let's see if it gives us cores headers. This is not going to be a lesson on getting around cores, but hopefully it includes it by default and we don't even have to worry about that. We're going to have to worry about that, but let's see the error. So here's what we want to do. We want to write some JavaScript code that calls this endpoint to get a list of all the Charizard cards. Let's do it. So we're going to add a little script tag. We'll create a file called app.js, and then in here we'll create a file called app.js, and then we need a function. So a function allows you to write some code inside of it, and then you can run that function and run that same code over and over again. So I'm going to say get Charizard cards. So this is a function. We can call it, and any of the code here, anytime we call this function, it's gonna run. So specifically, we want to call that endpoint. So let's just create a variable. You probably learned about variables. Let's call it API URL, and it's equal to that. So we have a variable that is the endpoint, and now we want to write code that makes a request to get the data from that endpoint. And for this, we're just going to use fetch. So I'm going to make this an async function. I'll just say fetch. You pass in the API URL, and this JavaScript code is going to request that data. But now we want to do something with it, so we await it because it's asynchronous. Behind the scenes here are promises. There's a lot of stuff that you'd have to learn, but for the most part, you could write code that looks like this, and it'll work. And then you can start to learn about promises and what's actually happening behind the scenes here. But here we go. So we get back the response. Then we need to parse that response because the web just works off of text, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this data comes back as text, and we want to parse it. We want to turn it into something that our code can understand. So we're going to say response.json. So this is a built-in function that parses that text into something that we can actually use. And for now, I'm just going to log it. So now you're like, wait, we'll we'll get there. But so when the page loads, call this function. This function is going to call the API, it's going to parse the data, and then we're going to log it to the console. So if we did it right, we're going to see a bunch of Charizard data in our console. If we didn't do it right, we're going to get a cores error. Oh, it worked! That's awesome. So if you're not familiar with the console, you might have used the console already. You can like right-click the page, say inspect element, but if you click on console, this allows us to debug. We can log things, we can do all kinds of stuff, but you can see that we're logging that data. So this is an object. It has a property called cards, and this is 68 items in the array. So what we want to do is we want to iterate over each item and then add that image to the page. So let's see. Yeah, and each of these items has an image URL. So watch it happen. So I think what we'll do is we'll have an element on the page. So we'll say ID equals cards. And we want to use DOM manipulation to add images to this div. So if that's what you learned about today, which is DOM manipulation, we're going to manipulate this DOM. We're going to add some cards to it. So first thing is we need to get a reference to that element. Can anyone tell me how can we write JavaScript code to access this div? Like what would we use or what would we do? And I forgot to sleeve one of my cards. Document.querySelector, yeah. So you could also use getElementByID. There's a couple of things you can use. I would say the modern way is querySelector, yeah. So let's do it. So in our JavaScript, we say, we'll say the not caps, the cards element. And someone's putting jQuery in the cap. We're not using any jQuery. So the vanilla way is document.querySelector, and then we pass in a CSS selector. In this case, it's cards. Now, some other people mentioned you could use like getElementByID, and that'll work in the same way. That's another method built into the document. So getElementByID, that would work too. And then if you had jQuery on the page, you could do cards element equal $, like that, but we don't have jQuery, so we can't do that. But query select, this is my preferred way of doing it, because this is actually similar to jQuery, but it's built into the browser. So we have the cards element. Now we want to append something to it. So right here, we want to, if you remember the data, so that variable JSON is this object. It has a property called cards, and cards is an array. Now, in programming, how do we loop? How are we going to loop over this array of cards? There are different ways we could do it. We could use an array method. Unsub. Come on, Bob. We could use for, yeah, did you all learn about for each? So I prefer for each. So you can do json.cards. So JSON is this whole thing. Cards is the property. And then you can say cards.forEach, and then that will run a function for everything. So cards.forEach card. Right now, let's just log it. So we'll say card.image URL, I think the name of the property was. Let's see. Undefined. Let's just log the card individually. Got to figure out what the property name is. So now it went through that array, and for all 65 of them, it actually logged out the full object. And these have a property called image. I think I just did image URL. Let's do that. So now we should see. There we go. So we see a bunch of URLs. Great. Great. Now all we got to do is DOM manipulation. We got to add it to the DOM. So I want to create an image element. Document.create element. Image, right? And then I want to set the source of that image to be this image URL. And then we're home free. We just append it. Can anyone tell me how can we take this image element and append it to the cards element? Did you learn that? Inner HTML? Well, actually, yeah, we could do that. We could. There are multiple ways. There are definitely multiple ways. Nope. So, yeah, you could technically set the inner HTML. We could build an HTML stream. But in this case, I'll let you know there is a method built into an element. So we selected the element. There's a method built into it called append. There's also append child. So if I say cards element dot append and I pass in that image, that is actually just going to append that image element to that element. And are you all ready to freak out? Let's get your Pog champs ready, because here we go. We got a bunch of cards. Yeah! We did it. Yeah. There are a lot of Charizard cards. Hey, learn with Leon. Yeah, we did it. Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, right now the code's pretty simple. You could do a lot more with this. Let's just do some like basic styling really quick. Let's say the cards is a flexbox, and then we're gonna wrap it. So flex wrap. Width, let's say, is 90% margin 0 auto. So it'll be 90% width, centered, and we'll say align items? No. Justify item center, maybe. What does this do? That's sort of it. There's a flexbox property we could do. Justify content space between? Yeah, that's the one. There we go. Justify content space between. Nice. We also could give a little bit of margin. So let's say every card or every image just has a margin of 1 rem. Is this gonna break it? Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. All right, I'll put this code on the interwebs really quick so you can check it out. And then we're gonna open up this Charizard right now and learn with Leon. Thank you for that sub. Very much appreciated. Too kind. But yeah, rem is relative m, and so an m is the size of 1 letter. So it's like honestly, this is an interview question if you're interviewing for a job. But so in M, I think the base size is like 16 pixels. And so by saying 1 rem, it's saying that it has a margin of 16 pixels. But the reason I'm doing that is because I can actually dynamically change the font size of the root element, and then all of the margins and anything else that's using rems will adjust accordingly. So this is really nice for like responsive layouts, because I could say margin 1 rem, but when you're on a phone, 1 rem is actually equal to 32 pixels, whereas when you're on a desktop, 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels. But yeah. Okay. Let's push this code up, and we're gonna open some more Pokemon cards. Pokemon card. Actually, let's just say Charizard. Charizards. That's what we'll call it. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Murdoch. No, I remember last time you said alert the mods when I'm opening Pokemon cards. And no worries, thanks for being here. We're about to unbox this Charizard theme deck. Let's init it. I think I have license. We're gonna add the MIT license. This code is open source. Yeah, that's it. And actually, I'll deploy it. Have you all learned about deployment? Let's put it on the internet. So I'm gonna use a tool called Surge. And Surge allows you to put things on the internet. Let me, for a second, hide this. So I'm gonna put it at charizardcards.surge.sh. And just like that, we're on the internet. So if you go to this page, you should see a bunch of Charizard cards. Like that. What? Yeah. And if you go to surge.sh, you can read more about the tool. A simple page with all the Charizard cards. Okay. No, not sparkles. Ta-da. That and that and that. Yeah. So, how about that's an exercise for you. So I'm gonna put this code on GitHub, but feel free to fork it and like add new features to it. But yeah. So what if you had an input here or a drop down where you could select the card name, and then after you select the card name, it changes all of the cards that are visible. That's a fun little project. This is public, right? Yeah. So code's here. Check it out. And this is the API that I use, which is really cool. We had this idea earlier. I want to implement this eventually, where we'll have a website where you can go and unpack like a digital deck of Pokemon cards. They're not going to be, you can't use the cards, you can't trade them, but it would be really fun to like go to a web page and basically experience the same thing we're doing right now, where we look at the cards one at a time and it gives you random rare or uncommon cards. I think we're going to build that eventually. But okay, back to unboxing. This is the Charizard theme deck from the Vivid Voltage expansion. And for me, it was incredibly hard to find. So I was telling chat earlier, I went to maybe 5 different stores and none of them had this deck. And then today I finally found the store with this deck and I'm excited. So let's open it. So this, if you're new to Pokemon cards, this is a theme deck, meaning we know all of the cards that are inside of it. It's basically pre-built for battling in Pokemon battles. This costs $13. It's not bad. And you know for sure that you're getting a Charizard. So let's pop it open. Thank you. Cool. So, on the top, you get the Charizard, and I believe because this pack comes with the holographic Charizard, and it also comes with a non-holographic Charizard. Let's take this off. Let's go ahead and sleeve this Charizard. Ooh. Nice. And you also get a promo code to unlock the deck in the online game. We get a nice little Charizard card, or Charizard coin, which is cool. You get the deck cards. You get how to play the game, which we don't really need. You get a checklist. I'll show you this. So this is a checklist of all the cards in the Vivid Voltage expansion. So you can use that to keep track. They also have an app you can download where you can keep track of cards. You get hit point counters, so whenever you're doing a Pokemon battle, Pokemon attack each other, and if it attacks for 20, you would put 2 of these 10 tokens on there, so that's cool. Yep, and this is just a little quick start booklet on how to play the game with cards. And we get a little battle play mat with a cool little poster on the back. Well, I have a blue screen, so you can't see it, but it's got Dreadnought and Charizard. And then on this side is basically the play area. So you have where your prize cards go, your bench, your discard pile, your deck, active Pokemon. That's cool. And then let's look at the cards. It includes Stage 1 and Stage 2. Oh, do you mean of the cards themselves? Yes. So yeah, and so basically, when you're playing the card game, if you wanted to play Charizard, you would first have to play Charmeleon, because he evolves from Charmeleon, and before you play Charmeleon, you would have to play Charmander. So I guess it's not the way it works in the real world or in the show, but when you're battling, you basically have to evolve your Pokemon in the battle to get it to be able to play Charizard. So this is a stage 3. You would need Charmeleon to get there. Yeah. And Crisco says, is there a way that we can reach you? Would love to see if you're up for doing a Zoom call with our class. Yeah, reach out to me on Discord. I'm actually going to be doing a talk with the ACM at a university in Turkey. Someone reached out to me and they're like, hey, we're looking for speakers. So I'm going to be doing that in January. So yeah, if you reach out to me, as long as you're cool, as long as it's not anything weird, I'd be happy to talk to your class. Cool. So the idea of a theme deck is it has everything you need to battle. So there are a ton of energy cards in here. So we got a bunch of fire energies, and the theme of this deck is fire. So we get a ton of fire energies. Let's see, we get a Hop Trainer. Let me separate it out into Pokemons, and we'll go through each one. Trainers, Pokemon. Cool in a weird. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean it like that. I just mean like sometimes it could be something weird, like a sponsored thing. I don't usually do sponsored. I don't have sponsors, and I don't usually take on sponsors. But as long as it's just students trying to learn to code, I'd be happy to talk to them. Okay, we got the Pokemons, the energies, the trainers. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, reach out on Discord. If you do !Discord, you'll get a link to our Discord, and then once you're in the Discord, you should be able to find me. You can DM me. Nice, check this out. So this is the non-holo Charizard. Awesome. It's great that it comes with both, which is great. Welcome, Lakshman. You should be in school right now. But we're opening Pokemon cards. I don't know if you're interested in Pokemon, but we're opening cards as we speak. All right, so let's look at all the Pokemon that it came with. So you get a ton of energies, which is great, because when you're battling, you need energy to attack. Let's see what Pokemon we got. So we've got Lugia, Charmeleon, which is what evolves into Charizard. We get Slugma, Magcargo, and Upside Down Charmander. There's going to be some Upside Down ones in here. So Charmander evolves into Charmeleon, which evolves into Charizard. And Bob says, if you unlock the deck online, I'd be happy to bow to you. I have a few theme decks I can crush you with. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, if you're just getting started in Pokemon battles, like, this is a good place to start because it gives you everything you need. But people that are serious about it, like, build their own decks, which is what I'm going to try to get into and what I'm going to try to do. Yanma, Yanmega, Magcargo, Slugma. So we have 2 Slugmas, 2 Magcargos, 2 Yanmas, another Charmander, Sudowoodo, another Charmeleon, Yanmega, Slugma. So it's not just fire. This, I guess, yeah, this is a grass type Pokemon, but it can use any energy. So when you see a Pokemon that has, let's actually show you the attacks. Attacks take a certain number of energy. So the U-turn attack takes 2 energy, and the cutting wind takes 4 energy. But because it's any energy, I can actually use fire energy for this grass type Pokemon. Cool. Another Slugma, there's a lot of those. Another Charmander, another Charmeleon, another Sudowoodo, and another Yanma. So those are all the Pokemon you get. Hey, Greg, say what? Thank you for that resub. And lastly, we can look at the trainers. I'm not going to read through all of these because we have a ton of packs to open, but let's just see the names. Colorless energy. There we go. Finally, so that's the thing, Jerb, is like it's fun to like. I mean, not it's fun, but people are like investing in Pokemon. Like they're literally buying cards so that they can sell them and make money. I want to play the game. and now that I'm an adult, I know that I can play the game, take care of my cards, and eventually they might be worth money, but right now I actually don't care. I just want to play the game. Bead, Evolution Incense, Dan. Oh, this one's funny. Draw 2 cards. You and your opponent play rock, paper, scissors until someone wins. If you win, draw 2 more cards. Leon. Hey, it's Leon. Leon, during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So that's pretty nice. Great job, Leon. We've got Hop, draw 3 cards. Professor's Research. I said I wasn't going to read all these. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. That's interesting. And hello, Ultrate. Wait. Hello, you. Yeah, you hang out in Alka stream. How's it going? we're opening Pokemon cards. And Ordinary Rod. How's it going? What else? We've got a Sonya. Leon is the system that boosts Charizard. You have to discard him to boost Charizard attack. Oh, look at that. Yeah, thank you. So we have a resident Pokemon expert, but if you look at Charizard, he has Royal Blaze. The attack does 50 more damage for each Leon card in your discard pile. That's insane. So Royal Blaze already does 100 attack, but if you have a Leon in your discard, it's going to do 150. If you have 2, it's going to do, wow. So that's stacks. That's awesome. So how many Leons do we get? It comes with another Leon. So you have 2 Leons. So in the best case scenario, you could do 200 damage with a Charizard. That's pretty good. Discard Leon trick. So we got Switch, Great Ball, Professor's Research, another Hop, Ordinary Rod, Switch, Sonya, Dan, and Bead, and Great Ball, and Hop. So there's not a lot of variety, but I think that makes sense. Like if you know these certain trainer cards are good, you would have those in your deck, but yeah. 4 Leons discarded, and you're smacking big boy VMAX. Yeah. So if you look at some of the VMAX cards, they have like 400 HP. So yeah, you would need an attack like that to be able to take out some of the bigger Pokemon. Alrighty. I've only done the tutorial of the online game. I'm thinking if it's not too late when I'm done opening all these packs, I'm gonna play a couple of games, and I'll also we'll do some digital unpacking of cards, because whenever you redeem one of these cards online, you get a digital blister pack, which is cool.